How's it going, residents? Arclay here. Welcome back to the channel. And IGN posted an exclusive trailer breakdown with a Zach Cregger for the latest Resident Evil trailer. So let's go ahead and check this out.
This is for sure, bar none, my most visually gonzo movie.
Okay. Yeah, definitely got that vibe.
All right, I'm Zach Cregger. This is the teaser for Resident Evil, which is coming out September 18th. Okay, so basically, my rule for this movie was to just try and make a movie that felt like my experience of playing the games, that could live in the world of Resident Evil. So this, I feel like this movie takes place alongside the events of Resident Evil 2. I like to think that, everything that's going on in the police station could be happening in this world. This is just another dude on another mission on the other side of town. And
Okay. And I like that. Now, my only thing is it doesn't seem like it's going to be set in 1998. In the trailer, he was using a phone as a flashlight. So while that is cool, my only thing is like, okay, if he's using a phone, it's not set in 1998. So clearly it's getting modernized. And while that doesn't break the movie for me, I do kind of wish it was set in 98. But going forward with this franchise, if it gets a sequel, and I'm pretty sure it will because Zach Cregger is a great director, if we get more of these movies, what's the timeline going to look like? Because clearly they're not going with the 1998 timeline. They're going for a modern day timeline. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they go in the future.
like what's going on with him. So yeah, I mean, it's not canon in that I'm not using the characters, but it's canon in that it lives in the actual, day of reckoning and Raccoon City.
I get what you're saying, Zach, but it doesn't seem like it's taking place in 1998. So technically, while it can still be in canon, even though if it's set in modern day, it still, follows the same kind of... Like, if Resident Evil 2 was taking place in modern day in 2026, if it's following the same story and everything, then yeah, I guess you could say it's in the same canon. But if you're not making it take place in 98, then it's not following in the same canon. It's not going to break the movie, but, this is something that we have heard, other directors similarly say. But yeah, I just want to point that out. I'm not going to keep going back and forth to this, but it is going to be interesting because then you're thinking, okay, well, is Leon's journey possibly going to be different? Because it's not set in 98, it's set in present day, clearly. So definitely it's... Right now, it's my only flag with the movie. But again, it's not going to break it, I'm sure I'm still going to really enjoy this movie, but it's going to be set in modern day. So if it's going to be set in modern day, but it's taking place in Raccoon City during Resident Evil 2, it's different.
So this movie follows the characters. He's outside of Raccoon City. He's got to get into the center of it, and we're kind of with him as he goes through this gauntlet of set pieces as he gets deeper and deeper into town.
Okay.
And so, what I love about the games is that, every set piece brings with it unique new horrors.
Oh, 100%.
And so I wanted the rhythm to feel like it was always changing. It was always shifting. You were always facing increasingly bigger dangers and you had to be aware of, resource management and health and things
yes.
like that. So I really did use a lot of cues from the games on how to build this thing out.
And that's awesome. And unlike other directors, you could definitely tell that this guy is a fan of the games. He's speaking like he is a fan. It's just my only concern right now is it's not taking place in 1998. But again, original story, but if it's set in the world and Resident Evil 2 is taking place the same time this is taking place, then why is it set in modern day? Unless I'm looking too much into it. but he's clearly using an iPhone. So this is the last time I'm going to bring it up, but that's the only thing I'm scratching my head at. That's the only thing I'm scratching my head at. But I'm loving what he's saying though, because that is Resident Evil.
And so, yeah, it's a love letter to the games, which I fully, obsessively love. All right, so one of the
Hell
things
yeah.
that I love about Resident Evil is the graduation from gun to gun to gun. So you can see in the
Yep.
first shot here, he's got a pistol. That's the
Okay.
first weapon that he acquires. As he progresses, he'll graduate to the shotgun, and then ultimately he'll get an MP5. That's one of the fun things about
Ooh.
playing these games is whenever you get the new weapon, you're like, oh, fucking thank God. Thank God. And
I
so
love the
his character
MP5.
kind of has that reaction as he does it. A lot of this
Okay.
movie is
Okay.
like third person, so there's a steady cam following Austin, our actor, and it was really a dance between him and our camera operator. So when I had a really wide lens and we're kind of over his shoulder, and so when he looks left, we like pivot around to look left, and when he looks right, we swing around and look right. So I really tried to incorporate
Dude,
just the
that's
visual language of
awesome.
the games into the movie. There's also a fair amount of first person shooter stuff in this movie that is the games utilize sometimes, but really just like you're behind the character, and when they look right, you look right. When they look up, you look up,
I
and
love that.
just letting that be the most common visual language of the movie, I should say, is very much from the games. This is for sure, bar none, my most visually gonzo movie by far. The great thing about how I like to play Resident Evil, especially the first time I play one of the games, I like to go really slow through the world and just kind of drink it in and try and immerse
Oh,
myself.
100%, dude.
I'm pretending I'm there, like we all probably do when we play games. So Austin is our main character, Brian, I should say. He's moving slowly through this world. So if you've seen any of my other movies, I like to kind of like creep through these dreadful spaces, and Resident Evil is like the perfect playground for a guy like me who likes to just really take his time turning down a hallway, opening a door, and waiting for that Jack in the Box moment. And so that's kind of what Austin's doing here, as he finds this abandoned farmhouse. I was a massive fan of Austin after working on Weapons, and I'm a bigger fan of him after making Resident Evil with him. He's so fascinating. He's the perfect avatar for the viewer. And what I wanted to do a Resident Evil movie where you're not following a badass with military training. You're following your average gamer like me. Like if I was thrust into a Resident Evil game, I would be terrified, and I would be missing 95% of the shots I took. I would have to learn the
Oh,
guns as I go,
100%,
because
dude.
I've played with an MP5, for however many thousands of hours playing video games. But if I have one in my hand, I'm like, where's the safety? How does this work? And so I think it's just kind of fun to be following somebody with no combat experience whatsoever as they're walking through hell with a machine gun. What he's carrying is important, and he doesn't know the whole picture when he accepts the job of what he's been tasked with. And Austin is
T-Virus? T-Virus? And, well, I don't know if they're going to go antivirus route. T-Virus? G-Virus? It'd be awesome if it was the G. It would be awesome if it's the G, and then something happens where he has to fight a G mutated monster. Yes! Please let it be the G.
just kind of this like perfect, very lovable, but by no means badass guy. And his reactions to the horrors is just, I love it. I love it.
And it looks like there's a chance that we might not get to talk to each other again.
I just really love the idea of like you're moving through a sewer, you have no idea what's in front of you, and you come around a corner and you see a gigantic, obese, naked, hairless man just sitting facing you.
Mr.
Like,
XL.
to me, it's just like what is about to go down. I like the question there, and what does go down, I am also pretty happy with. Honestly, it's like part of the inspiration for the look of this guy comes from the book Blood Meridian. There's a character called the Judge in that book who's described as like a 7-foot tall, maybe albino hairless man, and I love the image of that guy. And so this is just my little nod to one of my favorite books of all time. And
Really?
and it's like I don't have a nemesis in this movie, that the games use, which is like this gigantic hulking, Terminator that's following you, but this is also like a little bit of a nod to the Nemesis.
Okay, also this is a nod to the Nemesis. So is this thing going to be sprouting tentacles? Is he going to be like chasing Austin throughout the sewers, and he's going to be hiding from him? Like, is he going to be the pursuer, stalker type enemy? That would be very interesting.
I don't want to give too much away of whatever it is that's coming out of the door, but I will say that there's a mechanic that I've put into this movie that is, it might be in some of the games, and I just can't remember it being in some of the games, but basically it's the way the infected interact with each other, and it's something that kind of pursues him throughout the movie. And so I don't want to say too much, but I'm really excited for how this specific creature, for lack of a better term, how it changes and how it evolves over the course of the film is really fun. Believe it or not, this movie doesn't utilize zombies that much. It's much more focused on like the weird creature stuff than the zombies. There's
Okay,
really only
okay.
2 scenes, maybe 3 actually, now that I think about it, where there's like proper zombie stuff going on, and 2 of those 3 are in this trailer. There's this one right here, and then there's the one where he's running through the city streets and zombies are like detonating around him. But other than that, I wouldn't call this like a zombie movie necessarily. I just feel like you have this opportunity for the T-virus to do all these really fascinating things to the human body and to the world around you, and so to just limit it to zombies feels like a squandered opportunity. So
I 100% agree, and you know what? I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Doing something different, not just having zombies the main enemy, but also the BOWs and stuff like that. Yeah, 100%, dude. I'm all for it. Hell yeah. I would much rather, some random dude go up against monsters and have a harder time dealing with that than zombies. No, I'm still glad we're getting zombies in this movie. I'm a big zombie guy. I love zombies, so like part of me does wish, okay, I want a lot of zombies in this movie, but I am happy to take BOWs over zombies, or more BOWs over zombies, if as I should say. 100%, I'm on board with this, dude. This gets me even more excited for this movie. All right.
So I tried to really vary it up.
Some things have happened.
Okay, great. So I'm glad you picked on the drawers and the empty shotgun, because one of the things that like is so integral to playing Resident Evil is you're constantly searching for healing items and ammunition, right? And that's what he's doing in these scenes where he's going through the drawers. He's found a shotgun. He's got no shells. He's got to find the shells. So he's got to like comb this house for these like vital, bits of ammunition. And so you can't really do a proper, love letter to the games without that. And so I've also hidden some, I think you can see one in this trailer maybe. There's a plant.
Yep, I caught that.
Over his right shoulder. You can kind of see it. In the movie, the shot pulls back farther and you can see it. But I took the green herb from Resident Evil 4 and I replicated the bucket exactly. You can see the bucket there at the very end of that shot with the horizontal copper striping on it, and the herb is like exact for the Resident Evil 4 thing, which is probably the game I've played the most out of this series.
I think that's 2.
Even though this probably lives in the world of 2, I just wanted to use a little bit of 4 in here.
That pot looks more like 2. The plant also looks more like 2, but okay. That's fine.
Just because it's my favorite. And I also have some other items from 4 that are kind of scattered around in this movie that
really
notice. As much as 4 is the game I've played the most, I don't think it's very scary. 4 does not do nearly as much atmospheric heavy lifting as later games do. I mean, for me, the scariest moment of any Resident Evil game is in 8 when you're being pursued by the giant baby in the dark of that the basement. So some of the games after 4, I think, actually do a better job of building dread.
I'm about to say the baby scene was terrifying.
The reason that I keep coming back to 4 is because the world is so big, the game is so huge, the mechanics are fantastic, and it does lean a little bit more action than some of the more horror centric ones. But I don't know. I find it so relentlessly playable. I'm always interested in how it kind of goes from location to location to location, and you got to go through. At some point you're on a boat, and then you're on like a Indiana Jones Temple of Doom kind of mine cart thing.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
it's just like there's so much to do in that game, and I think that's something that I really dug about 4 is that you're not just trapped in one mansion and you've got to unlock a room and then go here and then unlock another room. You're moving through a world. And so that's something that I really took from that game in particular. And one of the other things that is in this movie that comes directly from the games is the need for keys and for padlocks being barriers. If you've ever played one of these games, you know that you always come to a locked door and you don't have what you need to get to the other side, and you have to go through hell to get the key to get out of here. And so that happens, I'd say, about 4 times.
Okay, that's awesome. Hell yeah, dude.
What is with all the padlocks, man? Anyone who's played the games will recognize exactly, what I'm doing.
Yes. That's what I wanted.
On the road. I was wondering if I could use your phone.
It takes place almost in real time, but not really. There's a lot of time jumps, but yeah, it takes place over the course of one evening. I'm sort of existing just adjacent to it because I'm not obsessed with the timeline. For me, it's like this is the first night that the T virus is broken out, and in this movie, it is like started in Raccoon City, and he's got to go straight into the eye of the storm, and so that's the deal. So I believe that when Leon arrives at the police station, that's still kind of like day 0, right, where shit's freshly gone wrong. So that's the timeline. Now I know that Raccoon City gets nuked, and I'm a little fuzzy on the timeline of when the nuke drops versus the day Leon sets foot in the police station. That nuking doesn't happen in this movie, which is why I'm not totally like brushed up on all that stuff.
Okay, so let's confirm the nuke does not happen in this timeline. So what is going to happen? And again, this is going in its own original thing. So I guess if you want to modernize it, then that would be interesting. And if it's not going to nuke it, then is that something they could possibly explore in a sequel? Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, because Leon arrives in Raccoon City halfway through Resident Evil 3, and then that's when Jill gets infected at the clock tower, if I'm not mistaken. That's where Leon's journey goes, and then it goes through the night, I believe, towards sunrise the next day is when the city does end up getting nuked. But that's definitely interesting. Going for something new, I kind of would like to see him do the nuke, because that's just such a pivotal moment in Resident Evil history lore. But if he wants to do something different, go ahead. You're already modernizing it. It's going to be taking place in modern day, just because we could tell by Abrams using the cell phone. I said I wasn't going to bring it up, but I brought it up again. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this movie ends, and like if they make a sequel, where it goes from there.
Yeah, this exists in like day 1 Raccoon City. Shit
Day 1
just went south.
Okay.
I was very, very fortunate to have a studio and a production company that really supported me and never got in the way of we got to make sure we're doing X, Y, or Z. Like I was given nothing but support, and so I know there's all kinds of horror stories you hear about filmmakers dabbling with IP and running into all sorts of frustrations, but I truly didn't have that.
I'm in like a seriously messed up situation right now.
All right, well, that is it. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. So, Raccoon City's not getting nuked in this movie. That's very interesting. All right. A lot of videos to be made. There's a lot that's going to need to be talked about. This video is going to be up, and then obviously my breakdown of the trailer. But yeah, time to work on the next video. Raccoon City's not getting nuked. It's going to be very interesting. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. God bless.